In this video, we will discuss about autoimmune response, and more specifically, we will cover about this bystander T cell, how it will contribute towards autoimmune response regarding this, regarding damaging our own tissue of the central nervous system. So, before going directly into the topic, let us understand what is the normal function of these T cells. T cells' normal function is to act against the foreign antigen that have been detected by the immune system of the body. And how how this T cell works is this T cell receives the information about this foreign antigen from the dendritic cells with the help of this major histocompatibility complex and T cell receptor interaction. There we can see that small antigen, that specific foreign antigens information is provided by dendritic cells to these T cell receptors. And in order to completely activate these naive T cells, so other signals also need to be provided. And one of the signals that is provided by with the help of this CD28 and B7 interaction. So this provides the information about the whether this provides the information about the present scenario within the host, whether they have more whether whether there are more number of this foreign antigen specific cells present or less. Based on that, these naive T cells will get activated or remains in its own stage. And apart from this, there is a third kind of signal that is also released from these naive T cells, and it is based on the cytokines that are released by these dendritic cells that will trigger this signal 3. However, that will trigger the signal 3. So this is how the antigen specific T cells activation works. And however, there are some T cells that does not require this major histocompatibility complex for its activation, and they are known as naive T cells, effector cells, or memory T cells, commonly known as memory T cells, as they already have the information about this specific antigen of the foreign antibodies. And in this case, these bystander T cells will get activated through different ways. That is one of the ways that is shown here is via this TLR2, toll-like receptors 2 or toll-like receptor 4 activation, or it might also get activated with the help of some cytokines. And one of the examples of how these bystander T cells get activated and affect our own tissue, affect their own tissue or own cells is shown in the figure that is in the middle of the slide. So in this case, the cytokines that triggers this bystander T cells activations are this interleukin 1 beta and interleukin 23. So it will activate these T cell receptors independent bystander cells or memory like CD4 plus T cells. And after its activation, these T cell receptors will upregulate or release this kind of cytokines, that is IL-1R1, IL-23R, GM, and some other. It will also trigger some other signaling pathways such as this GM, CHF, RORYT, CCR6, and overall, what will happen because of this T cell receptors bystander T cells activation is that it will trigger the innate like pathogenicity, or this memory like T cells will release the cytokines such as this IL-17A, IFN, gamma, CM, GM, CSF, and because of that, this kind of cytokines are also harmful to the tissues that are present on the central nervous system, own tissues that are present on the central nervous system, and it might lead to several problems related to this neuron, related to the neuron that is shown here. And this is caused because of these memory T cells get activated by this interleukin 1 beta and interleukin 23. And this is in normal term known as this autoimmune response, as the host own immune response is acting against the tissue, again acting against their own tissue. So this is some kind of disadvantage of this bystander T cells. And this is one of the reason why this memory T cells will fade away with time for some of the specific antigens, for some of the antigens, uh, like in this case this memory T cells based on its antigen information will trigger IL-17, IFN gamma and GM-CSF. So this kind of antigens this kind of antigen specific memory T cells will should fade away after some time. So I hope you have understood this how this autoimmune response is related to this bystander T cells. If you need to understand more about this autoimmune response and this T cells interaction, you can go through the reference that has been provided in the description. That's all for this video. Thank you for your time.